Spawning. Down here in the bottom right position of Blackburn to start things off. He is the young French phenomenon. Give it up for Clem. And his opponent down here in the bottom left. He is from Poland and ELAZER. Alright, so there are a couple of tricky things you can do on Blackburn. Obviously, in a PvZ matchup, we've seen that there is a lot of nooks and crannies that you can kind of push an army through. But in TvZ, that short rush distance is a bane of your existence, and also probably the nicest thing that you can get. Also, thank you for the follow, Helium. You are awesome, my man. And so is this guy down here. He's not doing anything too crazy that we see. This is just a standard Reaper expand. So with that, we should see that first Reaper just go for a little bit of damage, maybe get a little bit of scouting. Okay, just make sure that he stays safe. And that's what this other SCV is for as well. Just sees the fact that it was an expand first. So there's no real pressure on him right now. Reaper as well going to make its way into the main base. As we do see kind of the little wrap around here. ELAZER has pulled off the gas, so he will be dropping that third hatchery very, very quickly. And that's kind of the thing about this matchup. One base up, you're good to go. No base up? Oh yeah, you're going to be in a lot of trouble here. Because 3 base Terran is one of the worst things to combat when you don't really have a large larva count. Especially when we're talking about Lings. Because Lings, they're expendable. They are literally a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, except they are 10 times less cool in the early game. Now we do see as well an additional rack, so that again kind of tells me that Clem wants to be aggressive as he drops down this third base. Probably going to get a very fast stem timing and might even go for Hellbats here because he is pumping out the Hellions 2x2. Hurrah, hurrah. Yeah, there you go. He's kind of just revealing the fact that he has Hellions, kind of telling ELAZER, okay, nothing too crazy. Just don't go into my base anytime soon. All he's seen is the factory, so I don't think he's fooled, but he certainly does not know the entire story of this game so far. Now we just see this bit of a build-up. The Hellion's going to deny a lot of that creep, which does mean that that fourth base is going to be a little bit trickier to defend. Always a nice thing to see. And yeah, here we go. Just going to get that 2-1-1 in. Probably going to do a double hit with the Hellions as well. And go into siege tanks. Siege tanks can be pretty good. There's a lot of high ground positions, so taking the more aggressive fourth base will be a struggle. I like this. There is no vision for ELAZER. He doesn't know that this is coming. His lings are super far out, and while he's making some additional, I don't think they're going to be in time. Going back to the main base. There we go. He does see it. But there we go. Clem drops right in the main base. He gets a very quick Overlord kill. So now he can trade with impunity. As we do see that link count starting to wilter just a little bit. The Queens wanting to get on top of the Medivacs, but no dice as Clem can hold that corner or retreat. And now we do see the fact that he's got his third base down. He is starting to ramp up production. We should see racks number 4 and 5 relatively soon. And he's just going to keep the pressure going versus ELAZER, who is kind of stuck in this defensive position. He can't drone up anymore because he needs that defense. And as I say that, he drones up. But he can't really afford to efficiently unless he gets a good trade here in the middle of the map. He's got to build up that army. ELAZER, though, does have his 1-1 at roughly a similar timing, so that is going to be decent for these engagements, as we do see Clem going to be going for a very concerted siege tank drop here. As Centrifugal Hooks does now finish, so it's going to be even more important to clear up some of that creep. But we just see ELAZER saying, you know what, you're not going to have too much at home. I'm going for a counterattack. Let's hope it doesn't come back to bite him in the butt here. Looks like so far the answer is no. The Banelings about to roll in. They get nothing so far. The SCV count still nice and hefty. And Clem is just going to take this opportunity to dive on in. The reinforcements cleaning up the rest of that. And now, unfortunately for ELAZER, he just doesn't have units in position. They have to go all the way around in order to defend this. And by the time that happens, these Queens are going to be out of energy, and they are going to be sitting ducks. But here we go. Good focus fire right there. Gets a ton of the Banelings. And we do see, unfortunately, just not enough here. Queens are now on their own, while the next wave of Lynx is on the way. Welcome, Intruder, on the board. You are awesome, my man. Clem is now hitting on multiple sides because ELAZER just can't afford to defend as much as he'd like. 30 more Lings. Oh, my goodness. That's almost as many cakes as Lex Luthor stole. Now ELAZER needs to make that decision. Do I tech up? Do I risk it? And the answer is, so far, yes. As he's going up to Hydralisks, he's going to try and get the Infestation Pit up and running as well. Clem is just all over the place, though. Alright, gets a very quick pickup there, which is nice, but here we go. There's no Lings in the main base, so the Hydralisk then will be the first casualty of this push. He wanted to get the Infestation Pit, but a very nice pickup there. Now fighting into the siege tanks, Clem not paying attention. Oh my goodness. He is focusing everything up here. Now you know what? ELAZER is starting to take a bit of a lead. He's got +2 much quicker than Clem. He's got more production. He's still on 4 bases, while Clem still has not taken his 4th. It's just now flying over. So in a lot of ways, ELAZER is like not only holding, but he is pulling ahead. When that hive goes down as well, it's going to be another big victory for him. As we see, he's going to get a little bit of a deny on this base. Quicker pickup this time, though. Will save the Marines. For the cost of about six workers. I think Clem is okay with that. Scan gonna go down, gets rid of some of that creep, give him a little bit more of an angle. He doesn't want to dive too far, though. He needs to stay on siege tank range. Here we go. Laser going for the surround. The siege tank line is pretty far back, so this is going to be a very costly engagement for the Zerg player. At the end of the day, he won't even be able to clean it up as there's still one siege tank in the back. Oh my goodness, Clem with a 50 army supply lead. I think he smells that blood in the water as well as all his reinforcements going to be coming on in. Some decent baneling connections. At the end of the day, Clem is just a little bit too good. GG is called. So now we do see a pretty normal opening. I don't think Clem really wants to overextend himself and do something too crazy in game number 2. Obviously, this is a best of 5, so that forward momentum is still pretty darn important. And I mean, we kind of see what it can do, because Clem, his game versus Serral, which by the way is over on the Alpha X SC2 replay channel, which by the way where this replay is going as well, so you're probably already on it. If that's the case, welcome. But his games versus Serral were just non-stop back and forth, and it shows the perfect way to play TVZ. You force your opponent to never, ever be able to expand, because while Lings and Banes are pretty cheap separately, yeah, they're pretty expensive altogether. You know, when you're making about 30 to 40 Banelings at a time to stop like the umpteenth push from a kid who probably hasn't even graduated college yet. Not to worry, he's French. He gets it for free, though. But here we go. He's back to a little bit of a older build. Older in terms of late last year, early this year. Going for the 3cc. And this is one of the most aggressive Terran builds that you can do, because off the back of it, you can still go for Hellbat timings. You can get a 2-1-1. You can go for a 1-1-1. Heck, you can even do a siege tank push if you're lazy and don't want to actually learn a build. And yeah, just a lot of great things that you can do. I think if you guys remember the old days of StarCraft 2, the early days, Husky SC2 said it best, 3-base Terran is just an absolute war machine of a build. Now ELAZER, once again, he doesn't have any information on this whatsoever. That Overlord is not going anywhere in this. Also, I love this. I absolutely love this. Dropping in the Liberator as well, just to be a bit cheeky. Looks like he's going to dive in, though. The Zerglings, not in high enough numbers yet, but now that they are together, he should be able to clean this up. Not necessarily a misplay here. He saw an opening. It just wasn't as wide of an opening as he thought, Kappa. Alright, you know, ELAZER, he's still droning up quite heavily. He's got his lair tech on the way. He's not behind by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, he is far ahead in terms of that income. Kind of take a look at the tab right there. That graph is going to start to go up and down as the mules get dropped. But now Clem is just going to use these Hellions. Kind of push back the creep a little bit. He doesn't want to go too far forward. Even going to prevent those rocks from going down. I like that, because that opens up a beautiful position to siege tank push. As we do see, he's kind of just rotating around while also powering up. 5 Marines at a time. He should at least throw down his 4th and 5th racks relatively soon as he's building up this 3rd CC. And yeah, the Hellions finding some good damage on the creep, but it has been spread pretty darn far forward. And the thing about Lightshade, it's a very, very small map. Deceptively small. The biggest reason that you can say that is it actually had the same rush distance as Submarine. Now, here we go, the Hellions trying to get surrounded there, but they are a little bit too quick for that. We got the siege tanks on the way. Once 1-1 is about 3/4 of the way completed, that should be the time to move out. And ELAZER kind of knows that. He's putting a little bit more emphasis on breaking down those rocks. See, additional factory here. That's going to help out a bit. The Hellions do go down, but the siege tank will live. And that is not good for ELAZER. Looks like Clem not fighting with his siege tanks, though. He's just going to try and push back a little bit with these Marines. Not really going to find too much in this angle. If we take a look at the units lost, they've already died before even doing anything. That's going to force a pickup. And you know what? I think Clem is a little bit less aggressive right now than he was at the same stage in game number 1. You know, by this point, he did have that second drop just going to the top, denying the 5th base. But this time, I do like that he's getting his upgrades much, much quicker. With that, he's going to be able to take much better fights. And as we see, ELAZER once again going to be going for Hydra, potentially Lurker. He's just going to have enough siege tanks here, even going to have the upgrades for him. So, while not as aggressive, he is still, like, very aggressively upgrading. Beautiful snipes right there, though. Oh my god, Clem is on an absolute tear now, getting rid of the small number of Banelings, centrifugal hooks. Not done yet, 5 seconds from completing. Unfortunately, though, he's not paying attention down there. Good catch by ELAZER. You do see a little bit of a run by as well. The army is a little bit out of position, so the SCVs will have to be retreated. They're looking for the best engagement that they can get, but only 5 workers going down. On the other side of things, Clem's attention is focused over here. He will survive. He will survive because he does know how to love. And you know what? Love hurts here, as he's just going to keep pushing this creep back. Further and further. We do have the Hydralisks now, so you have to fight with the siege tanks. Siege up on the high ground. ELAZER can't really fight that, but he can fight this up here. As that's going on, the splits are pretty decent. He keeps baiting ELAZER back into the siege tank wall. That is going to be lethal. That was almost as lethal as I thought it was going to be. Now, once again, Clem is just trying to pull ELAZER apart. He does supply block him once again. Oh, man, this is a really difficult position, but okay, he does clean that up. And he does clean that up, so now his position is looking a lot better. As he gets on top of a lot of those siege tanks. There's only 1 left with this push. And while Clem is going to try and push the issue here, ELAZER, for the first time in a while, has that army supply lead. Problem is, it's in Hydralisks, which are pretty darn squishy. Reinforcements of Ling, though, will be enough. Clem, though, is not done just yet. Sieging up the siege tanks. Unfortunately, a little bit of splash damage going down on his own units. So, not the best engagement there for Clem, but ELAZER doesn't have enough to push that much forward. He needs to retreat. He needs to start some more upgrades. Look at that. The Hydralisks not even hitting anywhere near as hard as they should. So now ELAZER ready to pounce, but he's going to get pounced on himself. Clem inching his way forward. He's baiting ELAZER into the choke point. So those siege tanks are going to be able to do some massive amounts of work if he's not careful. Got a couple of guys stationed down there just to make sure everything is good to go. But, you know, ELAZER's not in a bad spot by any stretch of the imagination. He still is on 83 workers. And he does have all of his bases still up and operational. It just comes down to the fact that he's never really able to build up that critical mass or even kind of tech up anymore. No, we don't have a lurker den. We don't have an Ultras cavern. We don't really have a lot here. What we do have is a bunch of dead Marines, though. As ELAZER will get the kill down here, saving some of those Marines. Not the SCVs, though. It will cost him a base, but he wasn't really using it. It was kind of like one of those bases you just put away in storage, forget about for about 10 years, and then it goes on to Storage Wars, and everyone's like, why did you have a base in here? Also, beautiful pickoff right there. Getting that absolutely full medevac. But again, the problem is ELAZER is just kind of overcommitting himself to those engagements. He took so much damage trying to fight that, and now he's going to try and come in here, but his attack is going to be a lot weaker. He does get the Planetary Fortress, which is nice, but at the end of the day, it cost him a lot more than it relatively should have. So now he has no Banelings. Clem fighting under a blinding cloud, though. Doesn't even matter, as he is just going to stem his way to victory here. The production tab telling the whole story. 103 to 60, 42 Lings, 14 Banes, lots of siege tanks, and a partridge in a pear tree. Blinding clouds coming on in, so ELAZER is going to be able to dive on top of this, but while he does have a good concave, the siege tank still wailing away in the backfield. The Hydralisks have no support, and as those go down, the reinforcement's going to be diving their way towards this Zerg. And I think with that next big army coming on in, and now ELAZER is in a lot more trouble. Death by 1,000 cuts. Once again, you know, this guy, he shouldn't be a sushi chef because he keeps getting death by 1,000 cuts. And the Banelings trying to fight into the blinding cloud, but as that dissipates here, and Siege Wall is immaculate. The concave is beautiful. And while I might be hyping this kid up a lot, it's because he has earned it. He kills the base, and now it's just a slow roll to victory. I think ELAZER is going to need a lot more Baneling connections like that if he is to survive. There you go, the base is under threat. The Hydra's doing what they can, but even getting on top of the siege tank, there's so many more in the backfield. Yeah, this base is pretty much dead. Kerplunk. Scan gonna go down up here, revealing that ELAZER is heavily oversaturated up there. Now he can get a little bit fancy. Now we do see ELAZER trying to do a little bit here. He wants to take that base, but as you can see, it's a little bit occupied. And there you have it. GG is called. Up here in the top right position of Oxide for game number 3. He is Clem. And his opponent, down here in the bottom, he is from Poland, ELAZER. There you go. He gets a fancy spin too, because we do not discriminate against Zergs here. We are an equal opportunity stream. Now the big question is, we can kind of see the maps were... I'm going to guess that that second map was ELAZER's choice. You know, a lot of Zerg players do decide to go to Lightshade for the short rush distance, for the fact that you can kind of expand a little bit more freely. But you weren't really expecting a player to be as aggressive as, pretty much, if I have to compare him to anyone, he is beyond levels of micro. So now we are on what is almost essentially Clem's map, because we do have, you know, obviously the obvious siege tank positions over here, over here, over here, and if Clem gets his way, right here. But you also have to contend with a lot more angles where you can hide those drops. So I think from here, ELAZER needs to be more aggressive. Yeah, we did see he went for some small run-bys early on, but that kind of instantly stopped. I'm going to use Rogue as an example here. Rogue, whenever you play against him, and he sees that you're going to go for an offensive, he sends a very committed link push across the map to kind of pull your attention and energy away from the main fight. And that buys yourself a lot of time to rebuild up the link count, get a couple more queens, and kind of just deflect it a little bit easier, as well as do a lot of damage, because usually you just don't have a lot back at home as the Terran player for those first couple of attacks. But Clem is saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He's got that third CC once again coming on up. Second ranks as well, so he's going to transition into the 2-1-1 off the back of this. And yeah, once again, this is just going to be a player that you got to get around. You've got to stop him in his tracks before he really gets going. And I know I'm kind of hyping him up a little bit more than ELAZER. I apologize for that. It's just that he's really shown a lot of promise in the recent months. So he's really made a name for himself. ELAZER, he's still a fantastic player. You know, he gets the finals, he gets the championships, he does what he does. But he's been in this game for a while, so he's seen it all. Clem, though, is remaking it. So we do see Clem just slowly building up here. ELAZER getting a couple of additional drones. I think ELAZER definitely needs to get a scout once again, because we can kind of see he has absolutely no idea that this is coming. Even seeing that isn't really the biggest of tells, because hey, it's like four Marines. At this point, you could pump those out without a reactor. So, just doing a really good job of hiding it. Just putting a lot of emphasis, though, on cleaning up some of these locations, which is always nice. He loses the creep tumor there, which isn't too bad. You just got to keep that high ground vision. And yeah, he's just slowly droning up, adding on 5 additional workers. Baneling nest as well for that safety. He should start centrifugal hooks as soon as possible, because here comes the attack. Just like last time, he does send a small Ling run by here, because he wasn't really pumping any Lings, because he didn't know what Clem was going for. Excuse me. So kind of taking a look at the units tab here, he's only got about 8 Lings. Like, the army supplies are absolutely equal here, so he's playing catch-up to stop this push. He's gonna get a kill on the 4th? 5th base? One of those bases. Now, it's just a problem, because while ELAZER is ahead in supply, he's gonna lose another Overlord. The creep might get cleaned up a little bit. Clem is on 3 bases, almost fully saturated. And now it's just going to be that non-stop aggression. You got to get a couple of drones here and there where you can, but you just got to be pumping army units, getting the banelings, getting those hooks, getting the upgrades, the 1-1, which is a little bit behind. Good focus fire, though. Force a lot of transfuse energy off of those queens. But he will be deflected here, and now ELAZER does have a little bit of an opportunity, if he so chooses, to go for a bit of a counterattack. Some beautiful pickoffs right there, as well as sniping a lot of the banelings before they could even get on top of the army. That's going to force a lot of gas to go towards some new ones. As we do see, Clem once again going to be rotating to this top side. He wants this base. Like, he's already got it in his sights. Siege tanks going a little bit too far forward, though. So they will go down, but the baneling count has been deflected as well. So now ELAZER once again having to play catch-up. 28 more Lings. Has to be efficient with these banelings. And still has to find some time to bring out the Hydralisks. On the plus side, though, he will have his hive much quicker than in the last couple of games. He's got the infestation pit going down, so there you go. 7.5 minute hive. So, honestly, I think that kind of tech will help him out a lot, especially if Clem does stick with a Marine Siege Tank army. Just drop down a couple of Ultralisks. Here we go. ELAZER gonna look for the beautiful connections. A nice split, though, is going to deny him that right. But it's still going to be enough to push Clem back towards his 3rd base. ELAZER, though, does not have enough. He should not be overextending here, I feel. Yeah, especially not with that focus fire. So now Clem not paying attention to this drop in the top. If he was paying attention to that, that would be an epic... What was starting out so well ended in disaster there. So 20 workers going down. He's getting 2. You know, times 10, that's 20, so... It's relatively equal. Now comes the double prong harassment. How many banelings does he have? He only has 12 banelings. 12 banelings. He's got to be careful as well, because there is a huge chance for those Widow Mines to absolutely decimate that count much quicker. Alright, good spread right there. Going to keep a lot of these banelings alive, but they're not really finding the engagement that he needs. And so ELAZER, while he cleans up some of those siege tanks, this base is in a lot of trouble. Medevac as well, just waiting to go in. As all of ELAZER's efforts and all of Clem's efforts are focused down here in the bottom. Banelings going down before they can really be useful. Some more focus fire going to save a lot of these guys. And now taking a look at that army supply, 31 to 97. That is not a count that you can really erode very quickly as a laser. You need some beautiful connections in order to make it work. While he does clean up one of the medevacs, he trades out a lot of links for it. Fourth base is up. This push is still going. It might even get on top of the Baneling nest. That is a real bad moment for you. Spread is pretty good, but let's go. ELAZER getting the full-on surround, but some focus fire from Clem going to get rid of a lot of these Banelings. They do find one big connection, though. Tries to pick up and get out of there, but unfortunately, he doesn't have any units left. The second army, though, is here and ready to go. The Banelings getting stuck behind the Queens. And now these medevacs, since they did not go down, it looks like Clem is just going to have a little bit too much to bear. As these Queens run out of energy, that should be it. GG is called.